James Small here at Wellingborough Golf Club, and today we're going to talk about different ways to grip the golf club. So first things first, what I'm going to make sure I do when I get my golf club in my hand is I'm going to make sure this bad boy, the club face, is nice and straight. Okay, so it's straight and it's square to my intended target. So how I tend to do that is normally on most golf clubs you have a bit of a guide, a bit of indication. So this particular club I've got in my hand here, I've got a few little checkpoints that will help me. So I've got a little line at the top of the grip, little red line in the middle, and a little black dot at the bottom. And they run bang in line so that club face sits nice and straight and square to the target line. So I haven't got it in my hands like so, so it's not left or right, it just sits nice and square, and that gives me a guide so that when I put the club down, I know that I'm in the correct position. Okay, so first things first, as I'm going to get the club in my hands now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let my top hand for me being a left hand because I'm a right-handed golfer. If you're a left-handed golfer, just reverse this process. So my top hand is now going to sit on the club like so. Now what I'm trying to do here when I'm gripping the club is I'm just letting my arm hang naturally. So what I mean by that is if you look at the way I just let my left arm here, hang naturally, the palm of my hand faces inwards. So that very much just faces the side of the club here, that'll just come on here. This, if I turn it over like so, would be fairly unnatural. And also if I do it underneath, again, an unnatural move. Just letting my arm hang, sits, palm faces inwards, grips the club from there. What I'm looking for when I grip the club at the top of my top hand is I would just want to leave about 1/4 inch from the top edge of the grip. Again, just for a bit of control purpose. I don't want if I start holding it at the top edge, I've got sort of half my hand on the club, half not. So just pop that underneath. Now, the really important part now about this top hand grip is how it gets hold of the golf club. So a great rule and a great indication on feel to go by is what I want to do. I want to get the club that goes at the top. It goes in between the top of my little finger and it runs diagonally through to my index finger. So basically it will run all the way through like so. So you'll see it just sits there at the top and it goes in the crease and then it sits on the diagonal all the way through. Now if you want to draw a line with a marker pen on your glove, don't mind, just to give you an idea on where it should be as reference, you can just draw that nice diagonal. Like I say, top of the little finger of the arch runs all the way through to the middle of the index finger, all the way there. That'll just sit like so. And now I've brought my hand over. So now the thumb on my left hand is on the right hand side of the grip. Okay, so again, another little checkpoint now, reference point is you'll see the crease between the thumb and my first finger is pointing directly up to my right shoulder. And as the other checkpoint, you look down, I can see 2 knuckles. Okay, so as that goes in there, I've got my thumb on, nice and sort of solid there. Now, bottom hand goes on. Again, if I just bring my right arm underneath here and have my arm sort of naturally hanging, you'll see again, palm is facing inwards. It's not too much if I do this. It's an unnatural move, it's over the top. When I do that underneath, I'm having to move my arm in an unnatural pattern. If I just let it hang, let it come underneath, we're good. So again, now what I'm going to do is a good little checkpoint again, is if I just let that come underneath here, that is just going to catch onto my left hand, and the lifeline basically that runs through my right hand here is just going to support the club, and it's just going to come over the top of that little left thumb, and then my fingers are going to wrap underneath. So you'll see this part here is just going to go and just going to support my left hand. My thumb, the squishy part of my thumb is going to cover my left thumb. My fingers are going to wrap underneath, and that's now going to sit, like I say, nice and natural, just on top of my left thumb. Now the right thumb is sat on the left hand side of the grip pad here, and again, as reference, crease line between right thumb, first finger points up to my right shoulder. And there we go. Nice neutral grip. One last little thing here, thumbs. So you might see this where you think, God, his grip looks like it covers the whole thing. Well, basically what I don't want to do, I don't want to extend my thumbs out. So I want to almost like shorten my thumbs a little bit, especially my left one, my top hand. I'm going to shorten that thumb a little bit. That's just going to sit on top, and then my hands can stay nice and connected, nice and together, which is effectively what we want in the grip. We want our hands to be working as a unit. We don't want them separated and split. Okay, so that's the basic rundown of the grip. The second thing is now the different ways to hold it. So if I just bring the club up like so, what I'm looking at, I've got 3 different options. I've got the first one, which is my 10-finger grip, where basically my top hand and my bottom hand sit separately on the club like this. There's no sort of interaction there, but they're just resting against each other. So as you can see, they're just resting on, and they just sit like that. The second one is the overlap grip. That'll just sit like so. So my little finger on my bottom hand just hooks over the top of my first finger on my left hand. And the last one, this is also very popular, and the last one is the interlocking, which is also very popular, where my little finger and my first finger just interlock together, and then we come as one there. Now there's no right or wrong with any of them. In fact, I don't care which one you choose. All I would say is just whatever works for you, whatever's comfortable. You know, as long as you feel like you're in control of the golf club, then go for any of them, absolutely fine. So, me personally, I use an overlapping grip. Sometimes I feel like I've got quite small hands, so if I interlock, I feel like I'm almost struggling to get my fingers in the correct positions because I've got small hands. So that's me personally, but like I say, there's no right or wrong, just whatever feels comfortable for you. 10-finger, overlap, interlock. Okay, then we'll talk about pressure. So again, pressure, this one gets banded around quite a lot, but what I would say is you want a firm grip, but you don't want to be strangling the club head. So basically what I mean by that is you want it firm so the club head can't fall out your hands or get twisted, but at the same time I don't want to strangle it, so it's going to restrict my movements and keep my body nice and tight. So I'm just going to be nice and smooth here. I can take my time, get myself set, and then I'm away and ready to swing the club. With all of that in mind, now this is important to mention, I would only look to change your grip if you're struggling with direction. So if you come to me and say, I'm struggling with my golf swing, I can't control the ball flight, the direction's all over the place, I said, well, we'll look at your grip. However, if you've got a strong grip or a weak grip, meaning your top hand is over here or you're under there, everywhere else, but you find yourself really accurate and you're happy with it, absolutely fine. You know, we don't need to change that. Like I say, this is only really going to be affecting you if it's struggling with direction, or like I say, you're right at the start of your golfing journey. Okay, so just make sure, like I say, this is a neutral grip, and just make sure you follow them simple processes, and that will be a great starting point for you and trying to give yourself the best opportunity to hit some good golf shots. And don't forget, the golf grip will feel horrendous. Like, it's one of the most awkward feelings when you're out there. But if you can get used to that, like I said, you just give yourself a great chance of hitting some good golf shots.